Hey everyone, we are starting almost right on time today. As you're used, that's how we do it. That's how we roll. So, classic intro. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kayzr Talks, your podcast about esports, gaming, and pop culture. Today is a special day. We have a very special guest in the virtual studio. I'm just getting some settings right. There, it's DikkeSvekke. There's things that gonna go wrong and stuff. Today we have the actually I'm gonna let himself introduce himself, but I can already say that he's quite an important person, I think, in Belgian gaming. In the Belgian gaming community, and I'm just gonna bring him in. I'm just gonna bring him in because you probably know him. Let's go. Let me unmute him for you guys so that you can hear him. I think that's the most important part. We can hear you now.
Alright.
How are you doing?
Hi everyone. I'm doing very well. Yeah, so it's an honor to be here and to follow in the footsteps of the likes of Shox and Philip Langerock, and to even be called an important person in the Belgian gaming scene is a huge compliment, because I think I'm probably the least reputable guest you will have on Kayzr Talks, but still.
I don't think so. I think for the people who don't know 666 gamers, could you kind of guide us through it? Kind of tell us what is 666 gamers about and what is your function in there?
All right, so one of the first things that I always have to tell about 666 gamers is, well, basically refuting a big misconception. When most people first learn about 666 gamers, they immediately think that it's an esports organization, but actually we're not. We're actually a gaming community, so we have about 120 members right now, but everything that we do is for fun. So we don't have any professional teams. We don't even have set teams or people that always play together with certain people. We don't have any of that. Our goal is purely to bring gamers together and to put them in a setting where they can have fun, organize our own events, and yeah, basically bringing gamers together. That's kind of our motto. So that's what we do. And the function that I have within 666 Gamers is the public relations and the marketing part. So now with 666 LAN, that has started since, well, actually February in 2020, is mostly managing partnerships, trying to get new partnerships with potential partners and companies. So that's probably the biggest part of my job, but I am also trying to be very active in the Twitch community and to build some relationships with streamers and people that are often active on Twitch Belgium and Twitch in Flanders. Also having contacts with other organizations and communities, which is very important for us because it's those communities that really bring LAN parties and stuff like that alive. So that's basically kind of my job description.
All right. And now how about you? Like tell us your name, because I know you from Twitch chats, as you say, because
Yeah.
like you said, you put money where your mouth is. You say I wanna get to know the Twitch streamers, and I see you everywhere, man. Like you're in all the chats, you're in multiple communities, and you're trying to like support a lot of communities at the same time. But can you tell us a little bit about you? Because I only know you as SoulCatcher. So what's your like? Can you tell? I know your real name, but people have like a nickname for you as well. I want to know about that.
Yeah, well, my real name is Nikolai van Rechem, but when I joined 666 Gamers, it was back in like 2014. I was thinking about, okay, what should my gamer tag be? And my 14-year-old self came up with SoulCatcher. But then later it became Soul, or in Dutch, some people called me the Zielevanger.
All right.
And yeah, and in Twitch chat, I think it happened in the live stream of Janox. He was like streaming Apex or CSGO with Mr. Des, and well, basically he made my name to be Solka, and that's even said solken droog in tolken, so in Dutch. And so yeah, maybe I shouldn't translate it for the people
for the English listeners and viewers. That means that Solke likes candy and is going through a field with nice little bunnies. That's what it means. Do not Google it.
Yeah.
Do not Google it, please.
Yeah, so that's what that's made it out to be, and since then that's kind of a thing on Twitch. But yeah, I have many names and many variations on my gamer tag, let's say. But my real name is Nicolai van Rekhem. I'm 21 years old and I study engineering technology. So basically, I didn't have any experience with what I'm doing with 666 Gamers right now. I don't even study marketing or communications or stuff like that. So I really, well, I got involved because I was a member of 666 Gamers for such a long time, and then 666 LAN party was coming up and they needed people to help out, and the ball just started rolling, and that's how I got here. But it's a very nice experience, and I think for my further life that I will have a lot of experience from this, and that will help me in the future as well, even though I'm studying in a totally different field.
Right. Yeah, that's because that's really different from what you're doing for 666 Gamers.
Yeah.
And also, I was wondering because you just said you're 21, right?
I'm 21 years old. Yeah.
So you were about 1 year old when 666 Gamers was first founded?
Yeah, well, I know that 666 Gamers was like unofficially founded in 1999.
Right.
That's when the community started. So I don't think I was even born yet because I'm from the end of November. So
insane.
666 Gamers is older than myself.
That is insane.
Yeah, but the official start was in 2003, and then in 2000, I think 13 or 14, we became well an official organization. In Dutch, it's a VZW, so it has an official statute, so it's recognized. It's in the Belgian Staatsblad, stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Do you know, like, when you started working with them, were you bathed in like the history, like the big history, like, oh yeah, back then we started with and we were there. Do you know a lot of things about them, like little things we should know? How did it start? And how many people were there? Were there like 5 guys just gaming a lot and saying like, dude, we should start a clan?
Yeah, well, normally the well, in English it's the president, but it's so official. I don't like that term very much. But basically, the founder of the clan can tell you like thousands of anecdotes about things that happened in those 20 years. But yeah, basically it just started with 3 friends that liked to barbecue and that liked to game. They played Counter-Strike there. They're like from the time that they had to call each other to figure out an IP to play on.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so those were the times back then. Internet wasn't really a thing.
Yeah, for the listeners, I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people who don't know this, but back in '99, I remember this. I played Counter-Strike. I was 10 years old and I played Counter-Strike, and you could not call your friends because you were on the internet. So you couldn't call your friends. We didn't have ADSL then. We were starting to go from 56K to ADSL, and I believe we didn't have it. And we had dial-up, right? Like Yavisara says in chat. For the people who are listening, we're live on Twitch right now, so you will be hearing this like a week after or something. But we have people kind of sitting in the studio with us and interacting with us through chat. So we will not hear them. We will kind of try to read their messages. And that was really a time, like you say, that people had to just like try to find a second phone line, or maybe like go on IRC and be like chatting, like, dude, I can't find you and I can't see you. Where the fuck are you? Like that was really the frustration of gaming back in those days. Today you just click on a lobby, you're in, that's it. People are really should be reminiscent of those times. So continue your story. I kind of kind of went another path.
Yeah, no, it's good that you interrupted because you're a bit older than myself, so you have more experience. You lived back then, I didn't. So
I was
yeah,
alive.
but basically those were the times that 666 gamers were founded in, and yeah, over the course of the years they started doing events. LAN parties back then were without internet in basements. They were really a LAN party, so the only thing that was there was the local area network, and then they played
Right.
on a local server. So that's how LAN parties were back then. And a lot of people that come to LAN parties now complain about internet and stuff like that. And a lot of them don't even know that there were LAN parties before the internet. So yeah.
That's completely right. I remember bringing my PC to my cousins, and because they had like a switch, a physical switch that
Yeah,
we could
yeah.
all hook up to, because we couldn't play LAN over the internet. I mean, are you crazy? It had to be local. So that was really cool. And then afterwards, I went to like one LAN. I wasn't really active into the LAN community. Were you from a young age? Were you like active in the LAN community really, or did it only come later?
Yeah, so well, basically my nephew was in 666 Gamers before me, and it's
Oh,
through him that I got to know the community, the concept of LAN parties and all of that. So I joined back in 2014. I was 14 years old then myself. It was at like the Dipro Birds in the Antwerp Expo. It was like a little computer and music fair, but mostly it was just people coming by to buy some music secondhand. So
right.
that was most of it. And then somewhere in a dark corner there was like a little party tent with like a banner of 666 Gamers with the old logo. So not this one. This is a new one, but back then there was still the old one. And yeah, I participated in like a little tournament of a game called Alien Arena. No one on earth knows the game pretty much, but
Wow.
it's
No.
like a Swedish indie game. Um, and yeah, I played that and I won a USB stick of 16 gigabytes, which was the first ever prize that I won. And then
Wow.
I decided that I would join 666 Gamers. And basically, the next year or even the same year, I did my first LAN party, which was Phlegomatic Roman Empire. So
Oh wow.
yeah, when I was 14, I did my first LAN party, and I've been going to at least one LAN party a year ever since, except for
Yeah, of
the
course. This
Corona
year.
years.
Yeah. What do you? Because I see there's a lot of fellow boomers. I will say hello, fellow boomers in the chat. No, do you feel that LANs? Because when I think of a LAN, I feel that that's kind of the only place where you can still find that sense of wonder, like we had back in the days, that you could play against your friends. Because for everyone, multiplayer is like, of course there's multiplayer. Of course you can play with millions of people around the globe. They don't even think about it. And I feel like a LAN kind of brings you together, because the guy next to you is probably shooting your head off in the game you're playing at that moment, and you can actually kind of, it gets so touchable. Like you can literally touch the guy. Don't do it. Don't touch people.
Exactly.
That's playing against you. So it's kind of for me the only place where you can still get that sense of wonder. Like, oh my God, there's 100 people here. We're all in. I'm gonna say Fortnite or Warzone. We're all in the same lobby, and I can actually see all these people. That's a lot of people. Like that's
Yeah,
a sense
that's
of
true.
wonder. Like, oh my God, they're actual people in my game. Like, do you feel that LANs are still that the only place, or do you feel like, do you still have that sense of wonder when you log into a new game and you feel like, holy shit, there's a lot of people here?
Well, I'm really glad that you brought that up because a question that I get a lot when I talk to people about LAN parties that aren't really familiar with it is that they tell me, aren't LAN parties something for the past because everything is online now and you can play with your friends online and you don't have to move your PC, you don't have to go through all of the hassle. So why would you even still go to LAN parties? But it's just like you say, that it's a totally different experience when you're actually sitting together with your team that you're playing with and competing against each other. Afterwards, you can yell at the other team, or you can grab a drink and meet new people, and yeah, just be physically together with people that share the same passion. It's a totally different experience.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you make a clutch or you do an ace in CSGO, for example, you can jump out of your chair and you can start cheering, and people will cheer you on, and it's a totally different experience. It's you can't even compare it to online, and that's why I still think that LAN parties are relevant and will always be relevant.
Absolutely, because I feel like, and maybe now we're kind of getting, but I feel that you these are the things you think about. We're kind of getting into the sociological. Like, why did I pick such a difficult word, chat? I don't know why. The social part, sociologic. I don't know. The social part of this philosophy of gaming is that people that don't game don't understand that it's a social thing. Mostly. I won't say that it's always a social thing. There's still always people that kind of, that can get into addiction and then can solo grind the game for hours and hours and hours. But I feel like the LANs kind of take you away from that, because you kind of have to. I went to one LAN only that I participated in, and I went to visit a couple of LANs, but I never kind of slept there. But I kind of feel like you kind of have to talk to people there. You can't just sit at your PC and talk to no one. You have to talk to people.
Yeah, it's hard to dodge, right? Because if you want food, you will have to talk to the guy at the catering stand. So,
exactly.
So, but yeah, one of our big goals that 666 Gamers has always had is to show that gamers aren't like anti-social people that are only sitting in their basement all day, having no contact with anyone, just eating some chips, becoming fat and stuff like that. We have always done events like we had a pop-up LAN concept where we just went with a big table to some place like the Grand Place of Antwerp, or even the big train station in Antwerp, and where we just did a LAN. So we put a switch there, we put some computers on it, and people just started playing, and everyone who was walking by was wondering like, what the fuck are they doing? But basically we wanted to show that gamers come outside, that they are social, that they play together, that they high-five each other when they do a nice play, and that they just as well like to barbecue together or have a drink together or do the stuff that any other person does as well. So kind of breaking the stigma around gaming and gamers as anti-social beings that are just cave dwellers in their basement or something like that, because it's not true at all, and that has been one of our big missions since the very start.
Absolutely, yeah. You can kind of feel that in a couple of streamers as well, because you were talking about Jnox just a few minutes ago. People check out Jnox if you don't know him. I think he's one of like the most iconic gamers, I guess, in Belgium, because of his insane collection. Well, that he doesn't have anymore, but I think a lot of people knew him from that insane collection. And he's doing like a huge ass barbecue in like a couple of weeks. So it kind of goes to show gamers don't fear other people or something. That's absolutely not it. The reason I think most gamers go to look for like multiplayer games is for the social aspect, not really for the game, I believe. I don't know what you think about that. Like what is your favorite part about social gaming and being part of a clan, I guess? Because why did you choose to be part of a clan? I guess was it for the social part, or was it more for like something else?
Yeah, so for me personally, I have had a bit of a rough time in my life, but I'm not going to go into it. But basically, when I was 40 years old, I had to move to a totally different part of the country, and I knew basically no one. So then 666 Gamers was for me a nice opportunity to meet new people, to make some new friends that have the same interest as me. I picked up CSGO back then because that was the game that people played, and I got into contact with people from even from the part of the country where I lived before, that I played with CSGO with, and new friends locally. So I met a bunch of new people. We do barbecues, we do LAN parties together. We just have a lot of fun. So that's what it is for me, and I think that's what 666 Gamers is all about. Just coming together, having fun, and yeah, just being who you are, because everyone shares the same passion and has quirks anyway. So
That's awesome. I was just wondering. So we kind of know three friends. If I remember correctly, started it all.
yeah,
How many members do you guys have now?
Do you know 100. Yeah, 120.
That is a lot.
Somewhere around that. Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Like, put all that together, and you already have a full LAN.
Yeah, exactly. And because we also, each year we organize our private LAN, and then about 80 to 90 people attend typically.
Wow.
So yeah, that's like 3/4 of our members, and considering that we have people from all over the country and even some from the Netherlands, that's very good. And I think that says everything about 666 Gamers and how it has really grown more into a family than just some organization or a club.
Right. Yeah. That's what I wanted to show. Like, it started from, three people, and it kind of, went through a lot of phases, and now it is what it is now, and still growing, I guess. Like, there's still people enrolling and coming with you guys every year, or?
Yeah, well, to be honest, the last 1.5 years have been very rough for us, because a lot of the events that we would normally organize, we couldn't organize. We're also an organization with a membership fee, because we have some costs. We're an official organization. We need venues to organize the events, and the barbecue, stuff like that. So we do have some running costs, so people pay a membership fee. And then when you can't really organize what you would normally do, there are always some people that are starting to wonder, like, is it still worth it?
Right.
But now that things are clearing up a bit finally, and we finally have the outlook on organizing more events, we have a private LAN coming up, we have the barbecue coming up. We believe that when we can get people physically together again, that's when we are going to grow and thrive again as a community.
Right. Yeah. Just to recruit, new people, you kind of have to see them, because you could recruit people for an online thing if it was only online, but I feel like your organization is 3/4 offline, I will say, but it is online because you're playing, but it's offline. You guys kind of have to see each other to make
that's true.
To make it work. Like, it's the whole thing.
And also, because you brought up recruiting, that's why we do, for example, the Gameforce booth. So each year we are at Gameforce with the big booths that we always organize with the partners. So, for example, last Gameforce we had a partnership with was it World War Z back then? So then people can come and try a game with us, and they can see some of our members, and they explain what 666 Gamers is about. And every year we recruit at least a few to maybe 10 or more people each year, new people from just Gameforce. So I think that's our biggest strength, when we can put ourselves physically out there, and people can meet us and see what we are doing. That's our biggest pull factor, I think.
Absolutely, because they like you said, and I think you're very aware of this. I think most people that are casually into gaming do see actual gamers that come together at LANs and do stuff like that. They kind of either see them as sweaty esporters, like you know what I mean?
Exactly.
In their basements, or super pros, and they're like, no, I of course I can't be part of the client, because I can't even get a kill in Warzone. But I don't think that's the thing in 666 Gamers. Everybody's welcome.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I think that's something you see in the scene today, that basically every gaming organization at least has some esports component, and that's also the part of their organization that they're most vocal about. See what our teams did, see what our guys did, and of course that's a good thing. They have their own market, but we kind of fill the gap in the market where just casual gamers want to come and hang out and just do fun stuff together without having to worry about prestations or stuff like that. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of the gap we're filling. And we have also, well, it has been a very conscious choice to not have an esports component ourselves, because it often, we have seen that in a lot of organizations it doesn't work together very well, because the esports component gets more of the budget, let's say, and they have a bit more because they have prestations, and sometimes, well, that's kind of well, it puts the casual gamers inside of the organization off sometimes, and that's something that we really don't want. We want everyone to be equal and just game for fun. That's what we do as a community. Now, of course, when we look at the LAN party, we do well, work a lot around esports, and we try to accommodate that, but that's a separate thing from our community.
Absolutely, yeah. And I suppose that even at the LANs, there's casual gaming as well.
Yeah, as well. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it always has to be a good mix, I feel. But as I see your, like, on your banner behind you, it says taking a
Yeah.
break from reality, and I
Yeah.
think that's if that's your catchphrase, I think people should understand that it's taking a break. Like it's really, gaming with your friends, and
Yeah,
all of a sudden
exactly.
you have 120 friends. So that's really
Yeah.
really insane. What is your fondest memory of the clan to date? Because you've been with them for how many years?
Well, it's
Oh wow,
yeah,
when you
about
have to think
7 years
back,
now.
7
About
years.
seven
Oh my
years now.
god.
Yeah.
For the people who are listening, you couldn't see him, but it was like looking up in the air and thinking, and you
Yeah.
just know it's not gonna be like, oh, it's been 3 months. No, it's 7 years. That's a
Yeah,
long
about
time,
seven
man.
years. And I'm not even close to the oldest member. So
Oh
of
wow,
course of course
the
most of the
founders.
founders are still there, but there have been members that have been here for 10 years or more as well. So
That's
yeah,
insane. But
it's
what was in those 7 years? Because a lot has happened, I suppose, in those 7 years. Like, what was your fondest memory? What do you remember instantly? Like, oh man, I remember that
Yeah,
moment.
well, one of the very cool things was actually at the first LAN party I've ever been to, so Phlegmatic Roman Empire, where 666 Gamers made kind of a deal with the organization of Phlegmatic, where they would make a big entry um, in Roman Empire costumes.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so basically the founder was dressed as a Roman Caesar,
Oh
and
wow.
then yeah, and then at the front we had like a Roman legionnaire with a big centurion shield with a
Holy shit.
666 Gamers logo on it. So they made it themselves, and he went in the front with the shield, and then we had all the members in the back. We also had Jesus bearing his cross.
Oh wow.
So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so that's how we entered Phlegmatic, and then we went to the stage, and then we had like about 70 or 80 people on the stage, and we were all like chanting 666 666.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
so that was a very cool moment, but
That's really cool.
there are there are many to choose from actually, so
Countless memories. And what about the
yeah.
666 part? Like, is that how did they come? Because I know it was a thing. Like in 1999, everybody was 666. I was Cypher 666. That was my nickname. Like everybody just had the number of the beast as their nickname. Was that the kind of thing? Like, did they just choose 666 because everybody had it, or is there a specific thing about that name?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a combination of things, but basically one of the big connection points between the three founders was that they like to barbecue. So, and with barbecues, there's like this theme of fire, and
All
fire is
right.
connected to hell, and then
Awesome.
666. So I think that's kind of how it took form.
Cool.
But yeah, that was kind of the concept, I guess. Yeah.
Did you ever, when you were in the clan, did you ever think of going for maybe an esports career yourself, or is there anybody in the clan that kind of thought about that and said, like, guys, I would like to go for an esports career, can you kind of back me up in this? Or is there
Um,
any esports history in the clan, or is that really like out of the question?
Well, for me personally, I recognized very quickly that I had not enough talent to become an esporter. So I thought I will do something else. Esports isn't for me. I will be just a casual gamer. I don't think anyone in the clan has seriously considered it, or they might have left the clan before they were
Went
actually
to that
vocal
path.
or something about
Right.
it, like I want to become an esporter. So I'm not really aware of one, but I do know that when Rocket League first became a thing, that we had some people going to DreamHack because that's one of the things we did as well. We went with a big bus to Sweden with some
Sweden, yeah.
members
To
to
Linköping.
DreamHack Jönköping,
Oh,
yeah,
Jönköping, sorry.
and basically it was a team with Official. Uh, I think I saw him in the chat even.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It's probably in the chat.
yeah. So that was like at the very conception, like season 1 or season 2 of Rocket League, and he got third place in the big Rocket League tournament of DreamHack or something like that. So back then he was like very good. He was like at the
Wow.
top of the world almost. But right now, when other new talents have come up and gotten better, and more people have gotten to know the game, and there's much more competition, he's not he's not as prevalent in the scene anymore, and I don't think he has much interest in becoming an esporter. I think he
All
likes
right.
casual gaming and drinking a beer much better than than actually becoming an esporter.
You kind of tickled my curiosity there. What are the biggest games in 66 gamers? What do you feel like in those 120 members? What gets played the most? Is it really still
Oh,
CS:GO? Because I keep
no,
hearing that.
yeah, but that's because I personally, CS:GO has always been my main game.
All right.
And I think back when I started, CS:GO was probably the biggest thing. But there's also League of Legends,
Right.
Rocket League. I would guess that most members play Rocket League, but I'm not totally sure. There are some people that play World of Warcraft. There are Minecrafters.
Oh wow.
There are a big community that plays the World of Warships and those games, like the wargaming games,
Yep.
because we used to have a partnership with them as well. Because, for example, we were at Gameforce and at Facts with like a big army truck,
Mm-hmm.
because one of our members actually is
Owns
in the
one.
army,
Oh,
yeah,
is in the army. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, of has been involved with the army, and
Wow.
he arranged a truck, and then we had like this partnership with Wargaming to promote that game
Holy
and
crap.
play it on in our booth. So I think a lot of members have picked up the game because of that. But there are too many games to count, to be
Right.
honest. There are so many people that play different games, and
So it's not really like because you kind of sometimes have uh the drunken piglet says casual gaming and a beer, good title for a biography. I think that's
yeah,
really funny.
exactly.
I forgot my next question, but when did, because I you might have not been around when they decided that, hold on a second, it's not us three anymore, this is getting not out of hand, but like we really need to get some structure in this. Do you know when that happened and how that happened? Because
Um,
I believe it's a big step, just going from a
yeah,
casual organization to like, let's go guys, we gotta do something about this.
yeah. So 2003 was like the date that
The tilting
666
point.
gamers officially formed, let's say. Before, it was like a set group of people that always came together and had a name. In 2003, I think really the big community and organization part of it started, where they also started making merchandise and stuff like that. And then 2013 or 14, I'm not sure, is when we became like an official organization, like recognized by law as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I think that's where things have gotten the most professional, where we were like, okay, we are event organizers now that do things regularly, and we need like a judicial frame around it or something like
Right.
that. We need to be in order with everything, because we were also getting money in from membership fees and from people buying the merchandise and stuff like that. So I think that's where it has gotten really professional as a community. And then in 2019, when 666 LAN Party started, that's where we started getting really professional, because now we have a public event where people buy entry tickets and stuff like that, come for catering, where we have a lot of partnerships with companies. So yeah, that's where we really stepped up our game, I think.
Yeah, because the moment you start selling tickets, you kind of owe people stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of
Exactly.
you gotta get it right. 'Cause
Exactly.
they will say, okay, this wasn't really what we thought about it one time, but the second time they will just say like, well, you know, if you don't get it right. But can you tell us a little bit, because we talked about Fragomatic. Can you tell us a bit about the LAN scene in Belgium? Because I know, for example, the LAN scene in Germany is insane. Like, it's absolutely next level. Things like Gamescom kind of grew out of that LAN scene. In Sweden, same thing. It grew out to be the biggest event in the world, DreamHack, I think, around LAN, like the biggest LAN, I think.
Yeah, so the biggest LAN party is DreamHack in Sweden, and the second biggest is, I think, the Gathering, and that's in Norway.
Norway, yeah. Well, the thing I think with Scandinavian countries is that they early on had very good internet access, and I think that's probably the reason that it exploded there. But Germany, I don't see it. I don't really see it. But how is it in Belgium? Like, what do you think? How do you think the LAN scene is? Is it still big? Is it small? How does it position itself in the world and maybe in Europe?
Well, it's definitely on a smaller scale than, for example, Germany and Scandinavian countries. But I think in Belgium we do have a good amount of LAN parties and events. We have like CU LAN, we have Pixel LAN, we have Tower LAN, we have Fregomatic, we have Sugar LAN, and I'm forgetting a lot of them. We have 666 LAN, of course now.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say.
But I think there are a good amount of events, and they go from like 75 people to 100, 200, 300, or like Breakout is also only 300 people. CU LAN, Sugar LAN used to be bigger. They downscaled a bit, but I think now they are going to grow out bigger again. So there are a few LAN parties where actually hundreds of people come together, and then Fragomatic is currently the biggest, and they have like 2 editions each year with about always between 700 and 1,000 participants.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, so that's the biggest, but there used to be OCC, which was one of the OG LAN parties, and at one point they used to be the biggest LAN party ever in Belgium, with 1,600 people.
That's a lot of computers.
Yeah, that was their biggest edition ever. But then the kind of breakdown happened where the government and police forces really got concerned with illegal downloading and torrenting, which was something that back then, when internet speeds weren't that good, people came to LAN parties to do it, basically. Then LAN parties, in the eyes of the government, became like hotspots for illegal downloading, and then and the police did at some I don't know if it was OCC, I'm not sure, but they at one point did a big raid of a LAN party, and that's when the scene got a bit of a dent, but I think the scene has recovered a little bit. However, now with things going online a lot more, I see the interest in LAN parties diminishing slowly at this point. So we have I would call it a LAN party community with the organizations that are still going to LAN parties and stuff, but there isn't a very big influx of new people. And the people that are in the community are getting older, some are getting more responsibilities or can't really go to LAN parties with their work anymore. So there's a bit of an outflow, and I think the overall community is growing a little bit older. And that's also one of the reasons that we started 666 LAN, because we want to go against that. We want to attract new people into the LAN party scene, to show what LAN parties are about, and to just show them that coming together physically and having that experience is something totally different from online gaming, and that it is something worth doing. That's one of our goals with 666 LAN.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a very noble goal, because getting people back together, I think certainly in these times, is really I think communities need to, and I'm not only talking about online communities, I'm also talking about just communities in general, whether it be neighbor communities or whatever it's called, need to be doing more, because we haven't seen each other in 1.5 years, and a lot of people took comfort in being at home, seeing no one, talking to no one, and it's on the long run, I think it's very dangerous to have that kind of behavior. I'm going into very deep sociological thoughts right here. Anyway, but yeah, a LAN, seeing each other again, and getting that social aspect back into gaming. Javsar Studios is saying in chat, reputation is a thing. Online media basically has become a permanent LAN party in a sense, and in a sense it has become that because there's Discord communities, so you can actually kind of talk together in like a big voice chat with a lot of people, but it's still not the same as to say, like, you know what, we're at this LAN, what about, like, I'm just gonna leave my computer here and let's go get a beer right now and just talk a bit, and go outside, and and that's kind of the thing you can't do, because I can go get a beer right now, but the podcast listeners, they will they'll kind of wait. There's nothing to do.
Exactly.
When I'm not at my PC, it's not the same. So I think that part of getting together to game, but not to game only, is really, really the most important thing in getting all that back on trails. So we were talking about the LAN scene in Belgium. We kind of have to address it. The 666 LAN has been postponed, so it's not been canceled. It's been postponed. Do you guys have a new date already?
So it will be 15, 16, and 17 April. So back when COVID started, because basically our first edition was in February of 2020.
Wow.
So the
right
month
before,
after, the month after that, the whole COVID situation exploded. So we were very lucky, because if our event would have fallen a month later, we could have been in all sorts of trouble. So so we were very lucky. But yeah, back when we started negotiations with the Antwerp Expo for the new date, we also asked them, like, if the COVID situation persists until then, we really should have a backup date. So we negotiated the backup date almost a year back. So that was all covered, and they also agreed, like, if the situation is so that your capacity is too low, or you can't organize now because of the testing capacity that we don't have, you can just postpone, and we won't give you any fees or fines for something like that.
Nice.
So we do really have a very good understanding with the Antwerp Expo, and they also really believe in our concept and our idea, because they really hope that we grow, and they want to grow with us, because they hope that we now we have relocated to the biggest event hall in the Antwerp Expo, and they hope that the year after we will take another hall, and then another hall, until we have built the entire expo. Because that's good for them as well, right? So
and it's not only good for them, it's good for Antwerp, because you guys probably kind of pay taxes to Antwerp on your tickets, and so it's good for everyone. It's also a good thing for gamers. And since, well, I'm not gonna get into deep to that, but like the owners of the Antwerp Expo also own kind of a couple of other things, it's kind of good to get that community rolling.
Exactly.
So can you tell us a little bit about the 666 LAN and what is planned? Because it's not that long. It sounds long, people, but honestly, it's gonna be there before you know it. April is right around the corner.
So basically the way that 666 LAN came to be is Marco, so the founder, was at a LAN party once again. He goes to a lot of LAN parties, and the internet wasn't good. So again, that's the number one complaint at most LAN parties, like the internet is not good. So at some point he said, I'm going to do it myself. Oh, my thing opened. I hope the lighting is okay.
The lighting is okay.
Okay.
You're suddenly very light.
Yeah.
It's that 666 in your name, man. So for the people who are listening, you can't see it, but like the SoulCatcher's
my Velux, or what it's called in English.
Window open. So there's like a huge aura behind him. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. It's this that's the devil, man. That's the devil sending
Yeah.
you a sign. Or
Yeah,
maybe
maybe.
the other guy.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, tell us.
Yeah, so basically, at some point he said, I'm going to do it myself. And people kind of laughed at him because organizing a LAN party, believe me, it's not an easy feat. But he said, okay, if you're going to laugh at me, now I'm really going to do it because that's kind of what it's like if you laugh at him or you make fun of him. He definitely is going to do it,
That's cool.
whatever the cost. So basically, you had like two main goals. One was to have super fast internet, and we did that by making sure that we had a 10 gigabit per second internet connection.
Wow.
Yeah, so that basically meant
do you
that
do
every
that?
well, I actually can't go into that
Okay.
because of yeah, well, NDA reasons.
Because of
let's say.
things, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, because of things. So, but basically, right now there's a 10 gigabit per second internet connection in the Antwerp Expo, and we are also our own internet provider. So that's very cool as well.
Wow.
If you do an internet speed test at 666 LAN, you will see provider 666 gamers.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so that's a really cool thing. And then also we wanted to up the production value and the whole experience around the LAN party. So we really went all out with a big stage where the finalists of different competitions could play the finals actually on stage on nice setups with a lot of RGB that was sponsored by some of our partners. So Cooler Master, Logitech, and Samsung provided the gear and stuff, and the stage actually was from Stad Antwerpen. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we work together with a Dutch events partner that has its own hardware partners that they get all the materials from, and they gave us the stuff to build an awesome stage, and that's what we did. And we did get a lot of positive feedback from a lot of the teams that like, wow, we really had the feeling that we were like esporters or serious gamers because we could play our finals on LAN and on the stage, I mean, and that we could take pictures and stuff on the podium, and that there was a live stream. So that's all the stuff that we really went all out on, and that we wanted to do different or more than the current LAN parties. And then for this edition, we are really going all out on the streaming part. So we want to have a live stream of 48 hours long. So the entire LAN party we want to be live streamed.
Wow.
We want to have guest streamers. We want to have footage from in the event itself. We want to have broadcasts of the finals, and we want to include a lot of partners so we can have nice prize pools for every game. So
Right.
we want to have a main competition that will be broadcasted on the stage for CSGO, Valorant, League of Legends, and Rocket League. That will all have a price of like at least 1,500 euros for the 5v5s and
Wow.
about like 800 or 900 for Rocket League. So that are our serious prizes that are competitive in the LAN party scene. And we want to have like a lot of partners that want to make a lot of content with us and add a lot of value. So that's what we are aiming for right now.
Wow, that's big. Because I feel a little while ago I casted Battle of the Lowlands, and they had I think a prize pool of like $1,000 or something, and
Yeah.
people were already like going nuts about that. They were saying like that's quite
Yeah.
a big prize pool for just an online tournament. So $1,500 for each tournament, not just one.
Yeah.
Like that's big.
Yeah,
Especially
exactly.
for Belgium.
Yeah, and for your information, like CSGO has a prize pool that's already covered, so that will be sponsored by Be Quiet. And I can say that we are rounding up deals with other partners for other competitions as well. And well, they will kind of get their investment out of it through the live stream.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it's no coincidence probably that I'm on this podcast today, but we also have a partnership with Kayzr,
Oh wow.
and they they told me that I could talk about it, so I will take this opportunity.
Awesome.
So we will be working together with Kayzr to basically host the tournaments and to do the live stream, because Kayzr already has a big audience. Kayzr TV has a lot of viewers.
Absolutely.
Is also a partnered account, so the chance that we get Twitch front page with the event is pretty high as well.
Absolutely.
So that's why this is a very good opportunity for Kayzr and for us to work together. And in the meantime, because it's also a more structural and long-lasting partnership, we will also have a Kayzr community, like you have seen Lowland Lions and Barvatar and
Laagvliet.
organizations like, and yeah,
Yep.
Laagvliet get their own communities. We will have one as well, and we will be working together with our other partners to make a lot of online content, do online tournaments with prize pools as well. Could be hardware prizes or even prize money. So that's something excited for everyone listening to look out for as well, because we are planning to do public online tournaments with prize pools that will be worthwhile. So
Absolutely.
that's something coming up.
Sounds great, man. I'm really looking forward to it as well. So we were talking about lands and 666 land, and I was wondering, out of all the lands you went to, I'm not gonna ask you which one you like the best, because that's like an impossible choice. But what do you feel is like the things that a good land should have? You talked about good internet, so we know that. That's like one thing that you guys already have is great internet. What else is like good catering? Because I heard you talking about catering quite a few times. I think you like good catering. So that's pretty important.
Very important, yeah.
It's very important, because I've been the one land I've really participated in had really, I'm not gonna say which one, but had really bad catering. Like, it was the worst thing ever, and I just left because I was like, I'm not gonna eat here. And they forgot about water. They didn't have water. They only had like beer and Coke and like energy drinks and stuff, which is cool. But like I'd like to have water from time to time. So that was very important. So what do you feel are like the most important things that a LAN should have?
Well, for me personally, a really big part of the LAN party is like the atmosphere, and that's a really hard thing to grasp or to like really facilitate as a LAN party, because it also depends on the communities and the people that will be coming to your LAN party. But many of the LAN parties where we as 666 gamers go to are places where you can really cheer each other on, where you can just have fun, do a lot of crazy stuff. I will give an example. So like on Fragomatic, one thing that they do really well is that they have like these fun competitions that are kind of quirky, that are actually physical. So at one point they had like a big how should I call it? You had like two platforms that a guy stands on, and then you had to like push each other off with.
Oh yeah. With like a stick.
Yeah, like quirky stuff like that. That's a lot of atmosphere and a lot of fun. Is very important. Also, something that some people forget is like the electricity.
Right.
At some LAN parties, it happens that at some point a whole part of the LAN party just falls without internet because too much current is being drawn or something like that. What is also very important, I think, is the stuff around it. So like the booths that are present, the things that you can do as a visitor as well sometimes. So if you have, for example, a retailer that can help you out if you have a problem with your PC, can be very valuable at a LAN party. So for us, that's, for example, Alternate, that will have a booth where you can, you will even be able to upgrade your PC while you're at a LAN party, and then you can get another PC. There are also VIP tickets if people want a big setup present at the LAN party itself. So that's there as well. And then also like fun stuff that you can do at the site, like for example an iRacing simulator or Beat Saber or stuff like that. So yeah, those are the things that we really like to do as well. That you can just go around, experience a new game, or I don't know, do something quirky. So those are
Right.
nice things to have as well. And then for us, the really big selling point really is the stage. You can watch the games as if you're going to a really big CSGO major or the international, not on that scale, of course, but we're kind of trying to simulate that you also have the live stream with the professional broadcasters that are experienced and stuff like that. I think that adds an extra layer as well. So
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I remember because I've played Magic the Gathering a little bit competitively, and I remember going to Grand Prix, and I know they're not the same as a LAN party, but it's still, you know, a group of, and I like to call myself a geek, a group of geeks playing cards together at an event, which you normally do kind of like, Magic the Gathering has that kind of social thing in it, but still it's like one of those things that I liked is that there were retailers, there were side tables where you could just like play a board game or something or do something else, and that's really cool about that.
Yeah, that's something that we did last edition as well. Not on a very big scale, but you were able to participate in a Magic the Gathering tournament.
That's awesome.
That was organized by the Hub in Leuven.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like Outpost, but in Leuven with board games and stuff. So they did that, and we're looking if we can do that this edition. But we're kind of struggling with the area. It's already getting too small, so even though we upgraded to a bigger space, we don't have enough. You never have enough space to do everything you want.
I absolutely feel you. You know, I'm kind of in events. I'm not gonna, but yeah, there's like whatever you take, it's always too small. Like you could take the biggest hall ever, you'll fill it. People, if you think we organizers, we don't try to kind of like fill every nook and cranny so that you guys have something to do everywhere, it's not true. We really fill everything to the absolute maximum in our capacity, and sometimes you're like, oh, we really need that meter for the fire exit. We're gonna have to,
exactly. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, because that's something that a lot of people don't realize, how difficult it is to like organize the space you have, because there are so many safety regulations. You need pathways that are this wide, and then you have to make sure that every participant at your event is within a certain distance of a fire exit or an emergency exit, and they need to be cleared, and there are so many regulations, and you lose a lot of space just because of that you can't fill.
And sometimes it's stupid. It's like one table too many that you're like, I cannot put it anywhere, and then you have to bring the bad news and say like, dude, I'm sorry, I can't put your table anywhere. It's you're gonna have to sit outside or something, you know. And you really fill everything to the max. But that's really a thing that I do talk about is people will always say, oh, it's too small. But like, guys, we can't get bigger. It's once you get the full Antwerp Expo, for example, that's it. You know, you're not. What are you gonna do? Put them outside? That's impossible. and you will always have. It will always be too small. You'll always have like, oh shit, but we got that idea, and every time it's gonna grow and grow and grow. Yeah. So I really appreciate when I'm at a convention or at the LAN or at any event, and I see like, oh, this has been like optimal, like it's optimal. I'm sure you see that from your eye point as well. When you get to an event, you're like, dude, these like the carpets are the exact width of like the regular, like what you have to be wide, and like the pathways are perfect, and like, oh, this is filled completely. There's something to do everywhere. Wow, how did they do that? Like, and then you kind of look at that and you get a new view, and you're like, oh shit, they've really used this hall to the max.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you're in this kind of stuff, a whole new world opens for you, because that's also one of the reasons that we chose the Antwerp Expo, is because if this hall is too small, at least we can get another one and another. We can go up to 5 event halls, basically. And that's one of our unique selling points, because we're one of the only LAN parties in the Benelux that can scale basically to the size that we can. So we have done like a quick calculation, and theoretically we could at the maximum capacity fit 6,000 gamers.
Wow.
But then you fill it to the brim with
Yeah.
participants, and you don't have space for booths and
Anything.
stuff like that.
So
So
realistically,
it will, yeah, realistically it will never be that big, but yeah, we can expand basically beyond pretty much any LAN party in the Benelux. Maybe the party or the reality could go slightly bigger than they are now, but yeah.
Right. 5,000, I think. When 6,000 is your maximum to the brink filled, like 5,000 is a realistic thing. That's a lot of
Yeah.
people. How many people are at DreamHack, just to give people an idea? Do you know that? Or should I Google it?
Yeah, I think it's best if you Google it, but I thought it was like over 9,000.
I can absolutely Google it. Is it over 9,000? Did you
I
really
think
use that?
it's over
That's hilarious.
9,000.
That is hilarious. I'm just gonna check history 27,000. But that's, I think, in the
Wow.
in the US. That's probably the DreamHack in the US.
Oh.
Event covers Elmia exhibition. Oh no, that is in Sweden. That is in Sweden. 27,000,
But-
of which 800
But
are queue.
is that participants or like visitors
It's
as
probably
well? Because
visitors. It
because
says
they
participants, but
yeah, but they have like exposition and stuff like that as well, and that's something that we would like to do in the long term as well. That we, for example, have like a hall to put a fair in or an exposition or something like that. So basically, a small game force at the LAN party itself as well. That would be really cool.
yeah, that sounds fun. So and now we talked about the good things. We talked about the things that like need to be there and that are all, on 666 LAN. But what could be better at LANs? Like what are things that you go to a couple of LANs a year, I suppose,
Yeah.
or you've been to a couple of LANs over the few
Yeah.
years. And what are things that you kind of, we talked about the internet, that's one thing, but what are things that you kind of see every time and you're like, oh, why don't they fix this? Like there's this fix. There's things that we see that you've seen at DreamHack, for example, probably, that you think like, why does nobody do that here? Like that's a good thing.
Yeah.
What could go better? What could we do to like up our game?
Yeah, well, just to put it in perspective, because some people think that DreamHack is the absolute Valhalla and does everything the best they could, but basically when you go to a Belgian LAN party, the table and stuff that you get and the amount of space is probably better than you will get at DreamHack, because you really get like a transport pallet that is your table, and then the sleeping area also you can also only sleep in between some hours, and then you have to get all of your stuff out of the sleeping area or they will just throw it on a big pile outside.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so some stuff happens at DreamHack that if you do it here in Belgium, people would go nuts.
Yeah, they will go crazy. Absolutely.
Exactly. But then, yeah, at the same time, I think that the Belgian LAN party scene has started to stagnate a bit. Like, I don't see as much like the drive to do new things and to really go along with the esports component, to really go all in on live streaming and to reach new people. I think that has kind of stopped, and I think that's a bit of a shame that a lot of the LAN parties aren't really trying to expand anymore, get new partnerships, do new types of content to reach new people. I think that has kind of stopped, and that's something that I regret, because it is also one of the causes that the LAN party scene overall is kind of shrinking at the
Right.
moment. And that's something that we want to do totally different.
Right. Also, one thing that I've kind of thought about. You talked about sleeping, and one of the things that always kind of scared me a little bit in LANs is sleeping like under your computer and stuff like that, and in your chair. I'm like, dude, my back is not made for that. Like,
Yeah.
I cannot do that.
Yeah.
Is there a solution that you guys have for that, or do you still do the old-fashioned way like everybody does?
Some people just prefer to sleep at RPC,
Right.
and there isn't much that you can do about
No,
it. And
absolutely.
for us, it isn't that big of a problem, because we have plenty of space in between the rows.
Oh.
But we do have a sleeping area, but of course, a sleeping area is basically kind of lost space on your
Absolutely.
event because most of the time it's empty.
Right.
You need to make sure it's there, but like you really want to use it for something else, to put some content in it or a booth
Absolutely.
or more participants. But yeah, you need to have it because people need to sleep,
Right.
or else everyone would need to go to a hotel or something, and then
Right.
the cost would be too high, I think. Yeah,
Absolutely.
so
Because
yeah.
I've seen something in my a couple of years of event organizing that I thought like they've proposed it to us, but I'm like, that's not for us. That's also not for like festivals. And I was like, this
Now
is
I'm really interested.
yeah. Well, I was like, this is absolutely good for like a LAN, and it's called a
Yeah?
beehive or something, and
A
it's
beehive.
yeah, and it's I'll try to find the link later for you, and it's in the form of a beehive, and it's actually sleeping pods like in Tokyo stacked upon each other.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
they are in the form of a beehive, so you can get into it, and it's pretty big, and they are stacked like three upon each other. They're mobile, so they can build it as big as or as small as you want, and you can put rows of them, and you can actually so on what would tree be like 3 meter? Well, not 3 meters high. I think it's like 2.5 meters high, like a full person's length, so 2 meters length, and then like I don't know, as big as the row you want.
Yeah.
But you got three people on that are sleeping on a surface of 2 by 60. So that's
Wow.
insane. That's insane.
That's actually insane. It's so insane that I wrote it down, and it might be cool, but
yeah, Sierra Official says a couple of drinks I won't make the top bunk, but yeah, it's like those Japanese pod hotels, but it's mobile. It's a company in Holland, I believe, that does them, and they have like
true.
20 or something. So I think every like big unit sleeps like 20 people. So you can to make the math, you can basically make 400 people sleep in like the fraction of a and you can charge money for it. Because there's locks on it, and
oh wow,
it's insane. It's
well,
insane.
I don't think we would actually. It would be a good idea to charge money for it because over here people quickly think, oh, they're charging for this and they're charging for that, and we want it to be accessible to pretty much everyone.
Right.
But yeah, of course we need to recuperate our costs as well.
Recuperate because I don't think it's super cheap or something.
Yeah.
But I'll try to find the link.
And to come back to Sir Official's comment about after a couple of drinks I won't make the top bunk. After a couple of drinks he won't even make the toilet anymore.
Oh, okay, yeah, we got some. There you go, Sir Official. That you've been exposed right here. I'm gonna come back on the Drunken Piglet's question. He has a very good question. He says, there's been 1.5 year of a lot of nothingness around social gatherings and LANs and stuff. Did the clan do something for their members to compensate like the lack of live events? Did you do online events to compensate for that?
So
because people are saying like, oh, compensate, you mean financial? I think Piglet means like just compensate for the lack of events, so not financially, but there was nothing to do. So
we have tried to do that. So we had like a couple of concepts that we brought into life, like the Fire versus Ice competition.
Okay.
That basically was like a friendly tournament between iSouls esports and then 666 gamers.
Oh.
So everyone from both organization could just take part in like a competition every week. So we did all kinds of stuff. We did Guard Fever, we did CSGO Wingman, we did some League of Legends Aram, we did Rocket League, like a whole bunch of games. And then each competition, the member that won, if he's from like 666 gamers, that's a point for Fire, and then for iSouls it would be a point for Ice. And then after like 7 weeks we tallied up the scores, and then we won both times, of course. So 666 gamers came out ahead. So that's something that we organized online. We also had a couple of competitions with the community and the sellers at Alternate. So we played, I think one time was League of Legends, and we also did CSGO, and we also streamed it on our live stream. I think Jnox has even casted one of the games. So
wow.
yeah, we try to make some content around that as well. We did some Minecraft Hunger Games, like stuff like that, but we do notice that there isn't as much interest for the online stuff within the community itself as there is for the offline events that we would normally do.
Right. Yeah, it's probably because they're used to you guys doing offline, online things, you know, and that's probably the reason that they look you guys up. Else they might turn to other like platforms and stuff. It's not, which is logical because it's not your forte. It's not what you're looking for. So it's really not your focus point, which I believe it will probably never be, because that's not what 666 is solely about. You're mostly about...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But we are making a move to do some more content creation and online competitions and stuff as well, because that's something new that happened since we are like trying to find new partnerships for 666 LAN Party, that there are a couple of partners that are interested in a long-term partnership, not only with the LAN Party, but also with the community itself, to make some content around it, or do some tournaments online in between the LAN parties, something to make it more like continuous. So that's why the Kayzr community actually is a very good tool for us as well to use,
right?
Because we can host our tournaments there, and our partners can sponsor a prize or even prize money. So that's something that we are going to do, and for our community, we are in talks with some new potential partners, and there are also some things coming up that they will very much like, but we haven't told them yet, and we can't tell it publicly because it's not the deal or the negotiations aren't over yet. The deal has yet to be closed. But
so yeah,
there is some.
Announced.
Yeah, there is more to be announced, and there's very exciting stuff coming up, both for our own members exclusively, but also for the people that want to game against us or want to play in one of our tournaments. So
cool. So how do people get in touch with 666? How does one join 666 Gamers? I think that's the right question. There's a little command in chat here, but for the people who are listening, how if somebody said like, dude, I really want to join 666 Gamers now, because we talked about it for 1 hour and a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I just want to be part of it. How would one go about doing that?
Well, there are a lot of channels. So like I've said, some people join at events where we're at, like Gameforce, Facts, 666 LAN Party, or maybe other LAN parties when we're at Fragomatic or Sugarland or something like that. Sometimes people join at those events. Otherwise, you can always reach out to us via our socials, or you can also find contact information on our websites. So we have one for the LAN Party and one for the community. If you want to join the community, you would better go to 666gamers.com. Or if you know a member, he can introduce you, but mostly most members join through a physical event. Mm-hmm. And then there are always some that reach out to us on our Facebook page or something like that, and then we see it as well, and we get to you as soon as possible. So
right. Sounds good. I was wondering about something. So, how do you think VR could be a thing in LANs? Because I've seen VR really grow.
Yeah.
Like it's getting to a point where I'm thinking, okay, now it's happening. Like 5 years ago, it wasn't happening. People were saying it was happening. It wasn't happening at all.
Half-Life Alyx made a big difference, I think.
Very big difference.
Yeah.
And that's only last year. So that's a huge difference. Like the moment they showed that, I was thinking like, okay, now it's there. Now it's there.
Yeah,
there it is.
We're
there. So what do you think? That would be crazy, right? Like a big LAN, and just all people just going into the VR thing?
I don't think that everyone going into VR is going to happen very soon. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting that you bring it up, because actually at our first edition, there was a representative from an American organization that is very big into VR, that is looking to host a big event in the actually in Europe, but he found the Benelux region to be the most interesting because it's very central, and it's very easy to reach as well. That would even attract American teams and players to it. And they were actually very impressed at our event, and they have asked if we could negotiate about working together. But then since Corona, it has been postponed as well. So we have yet to hear back from them, but we have actually seen that there is a very big interest for big companies that are into VR, that really want to do events around VR and really want to make VR esports a thing. So I think it's something that is going to happen because it's clear that there's budget. We, of course, if it can happen at 666 party, we would be very proud if that could happen, but it's yet to be seen. But I think it will happen at some point, because the budgets and the interest is there. The technology is also getting better and better, I think. With Half-Life Alyx, people's interest has peaked because I think in terms of performance and the experience you had in VR was like unlike any other game we had seen before. But
absolutely,
there are big opportunities.
I've played a couple of games now, and Alyx is by far the most impressive. And of course, we can't forget the Iron Man VR and PSVR. That was a good step, but the problem is PSVR doesn't have the right hardware for it. It has older goggles, so the goggles weren't that good and stuff like that. But I've by now played the Microsoft Flight Simulator on VR, and I never thought I was gonna say this, but I was very impressed by Microsoft Flight Simulator. I was like, holy shitballs!
I'm a fucking pilot.
I'm a pilot right now. This is insane. And Star Wars Squadrons was also pretty insane. And Alyx and Star Wars Squadrons, gave me the feeling like, especially Squadrons, gave me the feeling like, holy shit, this could be very esportsy. This could be a thing where people could absolutely be better at than anybody else, just by having good reflexes and all those esports triggers that we talked about in the previous podcast as well. And also, I think it could be very impressive on screen for people to look at, which is very important, because you talked about your stage. So I know it was a very big build up, but I really wanted to talk about what do you feel is like stage worthy, especially for VR. We're talking about VR right now, but we'll segue into what you guys use on stage worthy. But like, do you feel VR is already stage worthy? Beat Saber is impressive, but it's like after a while, it's it's Beat Saber, right?
Right. But like Beat Saber still has the biggest community that plays it competitively around it, so that's why it's always there. Another big game that often comes up is Pavlov, which is kind of like CSGO but in VR, which is very cool.
Absolutely.
And I know the company that contacted us had like a whole array of possible games that competitions could be built around that aren't very big yet, but apparently in the States there is a competitive community around them. There are a bunch of games. If you would ask me, I would just remake the classic Star Wars Battlefront 2 make it into VR.
Yes.
Because like those space battles were just fucking awesome, and if you can do that in VR, like on Microsoft Flight Simulator level, I think that would be awesome.
That would be insane. Squadrons was cool, but that would be insane. That would be absolutely insane. And it would be esportsy as well. And even on a casual level, it would be insane to look at. It would be a Star Wars movie. That's what it would be.
I played like Star Wars Battlefront 2, the classic version with Mr. C Sharp, a very known guy in the Belgian Twitch community as well. And we joined like a server. I was surprised that there are still servers with like 20 people in it that were playing, and we were like, all right, we we will dig up some nostalgia and play Star Wars Battlefront 2, and we got absolutely wrecked. Those people
Annihilated. Yeah,
have been playing Battlefront 2, I think
absolutely.
for like 10 years now, and they have been grinding it, and they had like the best movement ever, and they, oh my god,
I've even heard, talking about like old school games, I've heard, I'm not sure if this is true, you will probably be able to confirm this, that there are still people playing Counter-Strike 1 point something, like
yeah,
not like on private servers and stuff, because I don't think it's I'm not sure if it's still like running on the official servers, but they're still playing that, and I'm like, how good must they be? Like, how insanely good must they be? Because it's been,
yeah.
what was the first year? Was it 99 Counter-Strike? I think it was like 99 or 98. It's really long time
something
ago.
like that, yeah.
Like, let's take CS 1.5, like the most, I think that's when the most people came
Yeah,
out.
and I think people are just still surfing and stuff on CS 1.6 as well.
Yeah, 1.6, but it's insane, right? Like, why are they still playing that game? It's still good. I understand. Like, Diablo 2 still gets played because it's just it's a freaking good game.
Yeah, but like
2000.
I think Counter-Strike is like a special story, because I know when CS:GO come out that the competitive community was like very split about will we join CS:GO or will we continue playing 1.6. So, and then there was Source as well, but there weren't that many people taking it seriously, but it had a competitive scene. But I think it was only when the big budgets went only to CS:GO that people like switched, when there was no future in 1.6. But it's easy to imagine that there were like casual gamers or semi-professional players that have just stuck by CS 1.6 for the whole time and still think it's better. I still meet people that say 1.6 is better, 100%.
It's insane,
So,
right? Like, it was, and it was a good game. I feel like it was a very good and like realistic game, I would say, or at least esports esports wise, it was a very good compact game.
well,
Like, it bam,
yeah,
bam, bam. It just,
I think Counter-Strike in terms of the mechanics is like the most competitive shooter out there.
right.
I don't think it's the most realistic one per se, but for like competitive integrity and the skill ceiling that is possible, I think Counter-Strike has the best mechanics ever. So
That's true. Do you remember the absolute madness of Condition Zero?
the single player, yeah.
Oh
Wow.
my god, I never understood Condition Zero. It came out and I was like, and what is it exactly? Like, it's a single player. I don't get it. And then I think at some point they kind of added multiplayer into it. It was weird. It was the weirdest thing it's not the weirdest thing they've ever done, but it's one of the weirdest things they've ever done. It was a strange thing.
Yeah, true. But now they have those missions in CS:GO. So like when the mission packs, I what are the names? Like there was Phoenix at one point, where you play a co-op game but against bots.
Okay, yeah.
and then you have to go through like a level, and there's a story around it with like the Phoenix are the bad guys, and then you have to kill them, and you have to do some objectives.
I can see that work. I can see that work for like more casual gamers. I would probably kind of enjoy it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
it is enjoyable.
Right.
I always play it with my most noob friends.
Right. So it would be me. Yeah, absolutely me. I cut myself to absolute noobness. So that's totally what I look for in games. And it's not even a joke. It's absolutely true. You've seen me gaming. It's horrible. So what else did I want to ask you? The next thing I wanted to ask you. So like, what do you think a good game should have? Because that's kind of what we're into. To be showable, to be like a spectacle, I guess. I feel like what's the game called? I keep forgetting the name of the game. I like to play it. It's a dodgeball game, and I kind of always forget it. Somebody in chat will say to me like knockball. I can't remember.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Please,
to be honest.
Somebody in chat save me. Knockout City. Thank you very much.
So
Knockout City.
Yeah,
I forget that name.
Yeah.
I don't know why. KO City, thank you.
Yeah.
So Knockout City, I feel that's like a game. It goes fast, it's short. People get knocked out. There's fun animations because people get really knocked out. They kind of fly in the air and stuff. For me, I feel like that's really important. Good mechanics. It's got to go quick. People are not gonna wait real time, 60 minutes to watch that. What do you feel is the best?
Yeah, so basically the difference between like a fun game and like an esports title, let's say.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
not,
like
not
you
even
say,
that, because sorry to interrupt you, because the what's that game called? Man, it's been a while. The game where people can push each other off platforms and stuff. It's like a battle royale, and you kind of have to go through a parkour. It's all little guys.
Fall Guys.
Fall Guys. Fall Guys
Yeah.
is not esports, but it's really fun to look because it's short, it's quick,
Yeah,
and it's
true.
right. So
Yeah,
what do you think?
exactly.
What do you think is a really good game to look at? Like what is a fun game to be entertaining, to kind of cast on? For example, your stage at 66 Land.
Yeah. Well, I think, like you say, the mechanics are very important because you need to have like a big skill gap. That there is a lot of difference, that players can really excel in a game through their skill, and that there isn't too much RNG. So
Right.
that is why I would personally like rule out Fortnite and PUBG as like really viewership titles.
Right.
You also need like a very good spectator mode. You need to have like the right perspectives to watch. Like CSGO and League of Legends has that. There are people that do it professionally, casting those games. But like in PUBG, there are like 100 people in the server, so you never really have a good idea of what is happening.
Right.
In well,
In
on
general.
the whole,
Yeah.
in general, and still be close in the action and
Right.
see the very interesting stuff. And yeah, when a game is too slow paced, you just lose the interest as a viewer. So that it's fast paced is very important, or at least there needs to be enough action in it, and quite frequently. It doesn't have to be all the time. And I think another very important thing is just the ability to cast it very well. I think the most important thing probably about spectating a competitive game is probably the casters. Those are the ones that really make it interesting. They hype the people up. They provide context. They put things in perspectives that you haven't maybe thought about, because like I have learned so much about Counter-Strike by watching professional CS. Like at some point you had, for example, on Inferno, there was like a spot where you throw a Molotov on a roof, and I was like, what the fuck, why does he throw his Molotov on a roof? That has no use. But then the caster can basically tell you there's a lineup for the smoke grenade, and if you throw it in the Molotov, it goes off on the roof and not where they planned it to go off.
Oh wow.
So yeah, there's a whole bunch of strategy involved, and if you have a good caster that can bring the hype and that has the knowledge about the game to provide you with context, I think that brings the viewership experience to a whole other level.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what about casual gaming? Because do you guys do casual gaming on the stage, or not really? Is it really reserved for the competitions?
Well, for the most part, it's the competitions, but we also want to do like just the fun competitions, which are mostly physical and not really games on the stage. So last edition we had like Ethernet cable pulling. So basically we had like the Ethernet cables, and then you had two teams pulling each other back,
cool.
and then and then once in a while one snapped and stuff. So the competitive integrity maybe wasn't the best, but it was fun, and
it's funny.
People enjoyed it. So so stuff like that we want to do as well. And I think a game like, for example, Tetrio or something, can be a nice viewership experience as well.
Absolutely.
Maybe it doesn't have the very best mechanics or the most honest mechanics, but it's nice to watch, and there's a competitive element. So I think that would be a cool thing to do on stage as well. So stuff like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's some questions in the chat, mainly about what you think about games. People kind of find that interesting. So what do you think about Splitgate and about Apex? They're asking. Because Splitgate is like the what is it called? Like the Portal meets Halo kind of game or something.
Well, I have to be honest, Splitgate I don't really know much about, so there aren't much sensible things that I could say about it. Apex City, to me, it's like yet another battle royale, but
Absolutely.
a little bit different. And I don't know, as a viewer, I wasn't really too much appealed by it. Like a lot of the mechanics were kind of above my head. Like at some points you get knocked out, but then you still have a shield and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it was kind of hard to understand how the mechanics worked if you didn't play the game yourself. It wasn't very intuitive as a viewer. So I think Apex you really have to play to really understand it as a viewer as well. And I think for esports titles or like really viewership titles, I think that's not a good thing because you shrink your market so much to only the people that actually play it.
Yeah.
While I think
Absolutely.
the overall goal should be to appeal to a larger audience.
And also, I've casted a few things, like not many, so I cannot call myself a
Yeah.
caster at all. But what I've, from my experience point, so that's very limited. I feel like there's too many moments where the casters kind of have to fill the gaps in most battle royales. I think Fortnite kind of
Yeah.
has that problem too. Warzone kind of has that problem too sometimes. Like, okay, now they're just
Yeah.
walking. They're rotating. They're still rotating. We're gonna have to
Exactly,
go
yeah.
to someone else. Okay, they're still not fighting. They're still rotating. And there's just too many times where there's nothing happening. And as you
Yeah.
say, with the healing aspect, well, you know, a match lasts longer and longer
Yeah,
because in
it
Warzone as
does.
well. Okay, well, they're just
Yeah.
putting more, you know, of those plates, and they're back at
Yeah.
100%. So you're gonna start all over again. So I feel, and that's what's really cool about Counter Strike,
Yeah.
because you get shot, man. It's
It's over.
it's over. It's
You
over.
did.
You're dead, and it's done.
Yeah.
And basically, that's really fun about Counter Strike, and that's also really fun about League of Legends. People are gonna say, but you can heal in League of Legends as well. Yes, but there's a lot of thing going on at the same time.
Yeah.
There's laning, there's a jungler, there's people pushing, there's an AD carry, there's somebody like trying to backdoor somewhere. There's
Yeah.
always something happening. Even if you're just watching at an empty map, the map itself is doing something while nothing is happening. So that's a really good game to watch. And I suppose that you guys do some League of Legends competitions on the LAN as well. And I suppose
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
people in 66
So
gamers play League of Legends.
yeah, definitely. I don't think there are any very good players. I think there are one or two diamonds somewhere, but I think that's about the highest that we have. But at the LAN party, there will certainly be a competition of League of Legends. It will also be played on stage. Well, at least the finals will be played on stage, and it will be broadcasted on Kayzr TV. By some casters that will yet be announced, but they are experienced.
Cool.
And it will have a prize pool as well. So
Awesome.
yeah, it will have prize money.
Sounds
Let's say.
great. So maybe to kind of go to the future right now, except of course in April, the LAN
Yeah.
and the Kayzr communities that we talked about. What else is there down the pipeline that you can talk about? Because I know there's a lot of things you cannot talk about yet. But what are the things that you can talk about that you can say like, okay, we're really gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna, what are the next milestones that you are absolutely going to go to, and maybe also after that, what are the things that you dream about?
Well, so the April edition basically is everything you saw last time, but we will really go all in on the streaming part. So basically, even if you don't go to the LAN, you will be able to follow it around the clock the whole time. And the most important or the cornerstone of it all will be the broadcasts of the competitions and stuff like that. So that's what we are really going to focus on next edition. And then the editions afterwards, I think, is getting more participants mostly and upgrading our space a bit so that we once again have place to put a lot of boots and side content. Because we really wanted to work with a partner like, for example, the Hub or even Outpost in Antwerp or something, to put some content out there, like where you can play board games and stuff like that. We also want to go bigger into VR because as you said, not everyone has the hardware to play VR, and that is why a LAN party can be a very nice opportunity, because we can provide the hardware and everyone can come try it, maybe even play in a competition and stuff like that. We also want to do something with sim racing, because we do have a couple of people in the community that are like really passionate sim racers.
Oh, wow.
We also did a big charity live stream around the Belcar race on iRacing.
Oh, cool.
And we raised like what was it, €700 for Kom op tegen kanker.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, and that was because one of our members is like in an iRacing team, and one of his teammates was fighting against cancer. Unfortunately, he has
lost,
passed away in
battle.
but yeah, we did that because he asked, can we do something like that for Kom op tegen kanker, and we said yeah, of course.
Awesome.
And yeah, we also, I know we have a member, and his dad is like in a home because something happened to him, and he got basically paralyzed, and well, he isn't too well anymore, and he wants to do something for a charity that does something around that. So we will be looking if we can make some content for that and do another charity live stream.
That's awesome.
But yeah, basically that's what we want to do for the next editions, upgrade the side content and the boots, because in the long term we really want to have more like a hack concept, where that's really a fair and an exposition, like let's say a mini game force at 666 LAN.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to do.
That's awesome.
And in terms of numbers, the first milestone is 1,000 participants. We originally expected it in like 5 years, so that would be like 2025. But I think at the rate we're going now, we could reach it quicker. And
Earlier.
yeah, then we just want to go beyond and become the biggest in the Benelux, basically, because we have the best internet connection that can still be upgraded as well, and we can have more lines of 10 gigabits or even more.
Wow.
So that's still a possibility, and we also have the space to upgrade. So that we really have big plans.
Right.
We kind of want to become like a mini dream hack in the Benelux. That's basically the ambition.
That's the dream. Awesome. Or the ambition even, because it's really possible. That's insane, man. And it also goes to show. I also did charity on my own a couple of like 2 months ago, and we raised $3,000 just by myself. It was insane.
I saw.
Yeah, it was insane. Like and I love that, because it shows that us gamers, you know, I'm doing air quotes for people listening.
Yeah.
Because that's sometimes how it's been. You know, when you see an article about gamers, it's like them and they and their and I'm like, well, no, we're just people like you guys, and we want the same things as you guys. And it's crazy when gamers unite. Look at this the Z event in France, which is organized by a couple of I think we have a little bit of issues right now. There we go. We're back. It's a thing organized by French YouTubers, and they raised like 3.5 million, 5 million, I believe.
Wow.
It's insane. It's insane. So nothing is too crazy when a bunch of gamers get together and put their mind on something.
Exactly.
It's just gonna.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse the words, but it's gonna fucking happen. That's what it is. That's what it is. Because you guys did it. You said you did it. You said, okay, we're gonna do something for Kom op tegen kanker. Bam, it happened, and you raised money, and you changed someone's maybe you changed someone's life by doing that. So that's amazing. That's a really good noble thing.
Yeah, and even in the Belgian Twitch community, there was like Gaming for Live, and I know there was also a big charity event where the Grens was involved in.
Absolutely.
So
Kayzr did one as well for
yeah,
that also
exactly.
brought a lot of money in. And like Piglet says, it sounds crazy, but it's power to the people. And
exactly.
I'm really glad that we talked about like I think the most big team in this podcast was the social team, like the social aspect of being in a clan, of being in a gaming community, and ending on this note or going towards this note, like getting to our end of our podcast by saying this and showing like, guys, we are very social people, And 666 Gamers is a very good example that's what it is. That's what it's about. And that's very beautiful. That's a beautiful message to share.
Yeah, exactly.
How would people go on about supporting you guys right now? Because I know that it sounds long, but it's like 200 something days. I went to your website just
Yeah, we
before the
have
podcast.
accounted, yeah.
Can they already buy tickets? Can they Klinikland, sorry, not Rode Dag. They is the thing Kayzr did. Can they already buy tickets? Can they like help you guys financially or do something so that it keeps on going?
Yeah, well, basically right now our programmer is working to basically in the backside of our website, there's like we work with separate events, so now he has to close off the event in September basically, and then start a new one for April. But yeah, ticket sales should be opening soon. I expect within a week or maybe 2 weeks.
Awesome.
And the sooner people buy tickets, the better, because we have certainty, and we also well, Antwerp Expo wants some money up front, and there are other costs that need to have a part of it up front. So that guarantees that we have the cash flow to do that. But we are in a good position. It's not that we are going bankrupt at the moment or something like that. But yeah, I think that's the best thing they can do to support us. Just buy tickets as soon as possible.
Yeah, and also you can if you still have the time, because that's what people kind of sometimes underestimate. You talked about getting bigger and doing bigger things, and maybe inviting, I don't know, someone or whatever, or getting a keynote speaker or something like that. Those options only become available once you see like, oh, well. Okay, we're at full capacity now, and we could still sell some more tickets. Like, people still want to come. Well, okay, let's get an extra hall then. And you can only do that if it's not 1 week before the event.
Yeah,
like
that's true. Yeah,
you could do it, but it's not easy to do that.
Yeah,
so
no.
You kind of have to know really quickly. So people, once the ticket sales start, just go to see the tickets. If you're listening to this, maybe the ticket sales have already opened, because it's maybe like a week or something.
That's possible.
So I know your website, the website of 666 LAN is 666 like a little dash LAN.com. But I also know that if you just Google 666 LAN, you just like the first hit is your LAN.
Yeah, I did some work on the SEO, so the search engine optimization.
Yeah,
so hopefully that should be all right. And I would just say follow us on social media, check our website. When the Kayzr community goes up, join the Kayzr community, participate in tournaments. And just come along and have fun. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Right. Is there anything else, now that we're nearing the end, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that we didn't really go over? Is there something that you're like, I'm really eager to talk about this, and we haven't talked about it?
Well, there's one thing that I feel that I have to do now that I have a bit of an audience listening to me. 666 Gamers, or let's say the 666 LAN party, is the result not of like 2 years of work since the first edition in 2020. It actually is the result of all the work that has been done since the start of 666 Gamers as a community. Without the community, we couldn't have done this. It is because of our members that are willing to volunteer for us, be crew for us, to offer up their free time, to make electricity plans, to make seat plans, to make plans for the organization of our event space, to think about all the safety measures, to do the internet for us. Those are all volunteers at the moment that are doing it for us, and those are the people from our community. So one thing that I would like to do is thank all of them for all of their hard work that they're doing, for all the free time they're giving up, and for the way they are supporting the LAN party, and basically making the dreams that we, mostly Marco the founder, had, but that we as a community had, come true, because we really couldn't have done it without them. So a big thank you to all of them.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, they do deserve it. People don't kind of, they don't think about themselves that way. They're just helping, they're just doing it. And mostly they don't stand still, like, they just think about themselves. I'm just, one of the cogwheels in like a bigger plan. But take out one of them and it just falls
because
down.
we have people with so much experience and expertise in some fields. Like, for example, the network engineer is basically the team lead for all the internet that happens. He's so experienced. He works for a big company. He also played a big role in making the 10 gigabyte per second connection happen. So that's
take that out.
That's really measurable. And then the people that have the experience with like big electrical installations, that do all the calculations to make sure that all the PCs have enough current and stuff like that. That things don't go offline, stuff like that. The people that are organizing all the competitions, the people that are at the parking lot to make sure that everyone parks at a good spot, that everyone has a ticket, the medical team as well, because they have done so much work with the COVID situation. They have made like a safety file of like 50 pages long only for corona safety measures. And now, I'm not going to say for nothing, but it was to make the September edition happen, and then one little thing changes and we have to postpone anyway. So they did so much work and they bring so much expertise, and really we couldn't have done it without them. It's amazing.
You're absolutely right, and that's why I like that you do that, because even people that sometimes think like, okay, I'm a volunteer here and I'm like at the door, so what? I'm not that well. Yes, you are super important, because if there's no one at the door, I mean, like, that's like, what are we gonna do? People won't get in, or people will get in for free, or like, it's everyone is important. Everyone is important.
Yeah, and it's even the people at the door. Like, we have a safety consultant that like arranges everything that has to do with safety measures, and he says, I need two stewards at those places, and otherwise the event won't happen, because we need it. So I mean, everyone in the crew is important, and everyone helps in advance, or just comes along for 1 or 2 days during the build-up to make sure all the booths are standing and the stage is standing, and the tables are there, and everything is important, and everyone that helps is invaluable for us. So,
equally important. That's absolutely right. I've worked in restaurants, being like way younger, and I was the dishwasher, and I had a chef that was very important to me, that said like, dude, don't underestimate the power of the dishwasher. If you stop washing dishes, the restaurant closes. It's done. Like, if you now stop washing dishes right now, I can shut down. It's finished. Because what am I gonna put the food on? It's done. And so that's why I mean, everybody is equally important. So that's really cool that you do. So and I wanna thank them as well for everyone out there that does a volunteering job, or does help someone in an organization. Not only 666, but just everyone doing that. That's an amazing thing, because you're giving some of your time for something that's, it's invaluable. Like Nikolai says, it's really invaluable. So thank you for that.
I don't even want to imagine a world without volunteers.
Imagine that, man. It would be horrible.
Yeah.
It would be horrible.
Yeah.
All right. I think we went a good way. We've been talking about 2 hours, and I think we talked about a lot of things. The last thing we need to do is, for the people who are on Spotify, well, you won't be able to join us on this, but we're gonna rate someone. Is there anybody that you want to rate, that you want to say like, okay, I wanna go there? Because I've got a couple of people online, but
I have Twitch open, and I see that STR official is streaming, he's a 666 member, so I would suggest that we go there.
Perfect. Let me go back to just get his name completely right. STR official. There we go. It's 2Fs, 1C. All right, awesome. All right, great. There we go. So,
and I would like to ask anyone, if you want to see him dance, just fill his chat with Haken.
All right.
Everyone type Haken.
I'm gonna put it in the chat. So this is the rate message. We are going to rate STR official. people, if you've been listening to this for the whole time, thank you so much for being here. If you are on Spotify listening to this, thank you very much for listening as well. If you're on YouTube watching us, well, look, it's us. We're dancing. Hello. And you can also go watch our previous podcast, Kayzr Talks. We had people like Shocks and Philip Langerok and Mr. Dory. There's been a lot of people on here. And you said, oh, I will probably be the most valuable guest or something, but it's absolutely
the least
not true.
reputable.
Or I don't believe in that stuff. We had a really good talk and very interesting things. I could talk for at least 2 hours more with you, but let's keep some secret. Let's keep some spice to it. If they want to know more, they just gotta come to the 666 LAN or to any of your guys' events and talk to you in real life. Right? All right, let's go. I'm going to start the raid to STR Official. Guys, join the raid if you want to get some channel points as well. You got to probably click the join the raid button, because I know a lot of you are watching on Kayzr TV and the API and the connection, etc., is not, optimal. So you got to click on join the raid, else you are not joining the raid. SoulCatcher, anything else, a parting message to the people? Do you want to say goodbye or huzzah or something like that? I don't know. Everybody has like an ending word they use. Grab your chance. What is your parting word?
Oh wow, I really don't know. Wow, shit, you're putting me on the spot now.
What do you say? What do you say when you leave a room? Do you say you, or do you say goodbye, or do you say?
I always say dag en bedankt, hè.
Moet daar een zakje bij?
Exactly.
All right, people. Well, dag en bedankt, and I will see you on the next Kayzr Talks. And now we are going to raid. See y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye.